Paving the way with great advocacy, such a measure of community. This was our plan, our pioneer team, fully invested in what we grow. We saw the clock was ticking and we saw the roadblocks ahead. We had to make it happen as the havoc and panic set in. We do our things and we cherish the memories we're making, fully expecting to thrive in a world of such beauty. From the rubble to the risen, we will always forge ahead. Shaping the road with direction in place, we aimed so high there was no room for lows. Kicked down the walls, any barriers we found, from this hourglass emptying all of its sand. Let's make the most of this land we have in our neighborhood. Harvest and sow all these memories, we'll make it our lifetime. From the rubble to the risen, we will always forge ahead.
And this the only reason that we have this garden here, this beautiful garden, is because they bulldozed all those townhouses, and so we got the land. And it's beautiful because it was our generation that we had it, we got it, and we did something wonderful with it.
So what happened after that? The sign went up.
Okay, the sign went up, and people signed up.
There was a lot of interest.
We had, there was a lot of interest immediately. There was a lot of interest. Committees were formed, and we met at the mini station, which was a new concept at the time. The police outreach to the community, and they had a space, and they said that we could meet there. I'm not sure how many times we met, but it was fruitful. We came away with a design. We came away with rules. They were presented to Wash West. A lot of us didn't know what a raised bed was because people had experience really in dealing with just dirt, where they had open fields and they were digging. So this was a new concept. It was very popular this time. Victory Garden was on Channel 12, and there were all of the things talking about the organic way of growing things. So that was a very urban thing to do. It was for urban gardeners. Were in. We were right on the cutting edge. And so the only thing we didn't have in the urban area was any land. So when the garden was designated for this lot, it was very exciting. I think that's why there was a big turnout, for so many people.
And I think they always were insistent upon telling us that this belonged to, this land was really part of the housing authority, under the jurisdiction of the housing authority, and therefore we should understand that if a developer comes along who wants to buy it, we'd have to give up the garden.
2001, the garden almost came to an end. The redevelopment authority that owned the plot that the South Street Community Garden sat on, given the garden under the lease. However, in September of 2001, the RDA, the Redevelopment Authority, notified Washington Square West that at the end of the gardening year, they would not be renewing the lease and they would actually be selling the plot. Fortunately, there are a lot of members, not only those that had plots in the community garden, but also members of the community that really stood up for the garden, advocated for keeping the plot as a garden itself. So an effort was made reaching out to other members of the community, reaching out to state senators, neighborhood associations, and trying to build a real advocacy. So a lot of letters were created based on the efforts that were made. And they really went through two avenues. A lot of community members sent letters to both State Senator Vince Fumo as well as to Philadelphia Councilman Frank DeCicco in hopes that they would put pressure and advocate for the garden. And then there were a lot of individuals, including state senators like Babette Josephs, who actually sent letters directly to the RDA requesting that they not sell the property so that it could continue as the South Street Community Garden, because of all the benefits that the garden had. So at the same time, really in a very fast fashion, a lot of efforts were put towards a petition effort. You can actually see the more than 5,000 signatures that were collected in really under a month's time. And by the end of July of 2001, there was actually this set of petitions that was sent to the RDA. And actually within under a 4-week period, the RDA notified the garden that in fact, or they notified Washington Square West Civic Association that in fact they would not be putting the plot up for sale at the end of the 2001 season. However, that unfortunately didn't quite end things at that point. And what we saw was in 2003, about 18 months after that, another series of communications that start. Mary Jane Barrett, again from Washington Square West Civic Association, reaching out to State Senator Vince Fumo at that point, alerting them that even though this verbal agreement that was made was never actually carried through and executed with a written agreement. So where this communication ends in 2003, there's actually a lot of uncertainty that still is. There's sort of this informal agreement that the property won't be sold, but nothing written in stone at that point. And as it turned out, the process ended up continuing on for many years after that. That's pretty much it.
That's great. That was awesome. So today, I'm talking with Bobby Camp, who has been instrumental in many aspects of our community garden here at South Street. But Bobby, you've not only been coordinator for a really long time, I think even longer than I have, but, I know that Jason touched on the 2001 threat that happened, the petition with the 5,000 signatures, the effort to put the garden in the trust, that sort of thing. And why don't you take it from there and talk about, the steps that you took during that time for you and for us.
Yeah, well, we had some help. In 2008, the Neighborhood Gardens Association expressed an interest to DeCicco in bringing our garden in particular into the Neighborhood Gardens Association, which is a land trust. I wasn't involved at that time, but that kind of set the stage for us.
So 2011 is a crazy year.
Well, we had a meeting with DeCicco on March 31st, and we explained to him the situation. DeCicco's aide told me that I should get a letter from the Neighborhood Gardens Association. I did that. I started presenting to neighborhood organizations and asking for letters of support. But the really critical thing, and I think this was kind of a turning point, was on September 13th when we made a presentation at the Washington Square West Civic Board meeting. And we invited the director of the Neighborhood Gardens Association, the vice president for programs at the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, and I think that at that point, Washington Square West decided they should be in our court as well, because we had these powerful figures who were backing us.
So then from there, we know we have people in our corner. There starts to be conversations with.
And there are transfers of land among city agencies, which means that the title of the garden can be transferred from the redevelopment authority to Parks and Recreation.
And that
means we may have a home. But the bill is signed by the mayor on December 19th. And that means in 2015 that the chair of the Greening Committee at Wash West Civic Association bird dogs this whole thing and makes endless phone calls, talks to people, gets it through.
So you're talking about, Rick Spitford being really helpful in you kind of wrapping up that endpoint.
At this point, he was really critical. He was really essential, and he was really helpful.
We don't need to think about you as your experience, what you benefit from.
We have it. We're lucky. And we have all the plants. So I very rarely buy plants. I just take my chances, and I have broccoli and I have cabbage. I have wonderful things that I grow and eat. And it keeps me healthy.
Yeah, as we can see.
Yeah. And it'll become a tree. And I tell people, I said, don't put it in a pot that's wider than your door. Because you can't get it in and out. And it's got flowers.
Is it fragrant?
Oh, it is. It's the national flower of Nicaragua. So I can wear it in my hair all day, and it's very fragrant. It's called plumeria.
But in our climate,
It's amazing.
I don't know if you just smell that.
that's the bugs that are getting these things. Look at them all.
Oh, wow.
These are all, a lot of them. There's more. Oh my God. First Thea's plot, which we now call our north plot, and then Terry's plot, which was the south plot now.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I know that back when we first joined City Harvest, you probably count the gardens on our hands, and now it's hundreds.
Yeah.
You mean hundreds who are involved with the program?
Hundreds of
gardens.
Hundreds
Yeah.
of gardens.
Yeah.
So it's a full range of the types of gardens, but from all over the city. And it is interesting to meet the folks. We're required to do some volunteer work for PHS as part of this project, and so we go to Bartram's. I go to Bartram's anyway when I go to
And Aubrey, yeah.
Aubrey, where we transplant seedlings, or we label them, or we do whatever they tell us to do to get the seedlings ready to be picked up by people like Virginia and Chris on our pickup days.
So we started with RWA in 2009. And I knew about them because they work for Fairmount Park, which is one of our clients. And I just learned about them. There are 70 guys there, and I thought they must be cooking for them.
Yes, they were actually kind of excited about it because some of the clients at RWA are returning citizens, and some of the plants that are grown for City Harvest start in prison horticultural programs. So they were it was like it was going full circle. The guys were getting the stuff that they started, or somebody started. So the first people that start there at RWA
are the guys in the blue jumpsuits that do the cleaning around the streets or whatever kind of contract work. And so then they'd come over here and help. 3 or 4 of them would come over and help us harvest or water. And for many of them, it was the first time they'd done anything. How do I do this? How do I cut this herbs?
Yeah, but that was really great, like Emily said, because it was sort of a full circle thing where they grew the seedlings and we used the seedlings and then donated to RWA.
It's the generosity now is incredible.
Yeah, we get a lot
And it's just constant.
Oh, wow, nice.
Probably use for compost at this point, but generally, like. Do you want strawberries? Hey.
Good to go?
Yeah, so you don't want any of that? We can just take it all
We'll
out.
keep the middle. But yeah, you can that middle one. And then these are. Gonna do it in a chow? Yeah, that'd be great. There you go. Here's your. There's one.
Oh wow, beautiful.
They mold it.
But still, what a reveal.
Some of these are probably still edible.
Yeah, I mean, certainly.
He is our water expert in the South Street Community Garden, and he's been through several iterations of how we get our water in our garden, and he's going to speak about that.
Hang on a second. Joe, can you... Yeah, you're...
Shall we start again? Yes, let's start again.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
The garden was first starting out. There's a fire hydrant behind me up the block that we just had an adapter and we fit a hose to, and people would haul it in and water what they had. We put barrels in and then we filled them with the hose, which required a lot of volunteers and a schedule. Virginia Tricino, who was the garden coordinator at the time, managed to get a grant of a few $1,000s to have somebody install a water pit, which is over there. And we have gone through a series of iterations of this charming rat's nest of faucets and valves that help distribute the water, which meant fewer volunteers. What we have now is a system that doesn't require volunteers, more than a little work once a year. The system is very easy on maintenance, so we're really sort of slowly making it more useful for the gardeners and easier for those of us who play with it at the beginning and end of the season to kind of maintain it.
Awesome. Let's cut it there. morning. Wow, look at this. We are rocking out, my friends. Fabulous. I'm going to put some notes on some tables so we know where stuff is going.
By all means,
so right now, this is like, we'll do kitchen stuff, nice. Kids stuff towards where Francesca is. Closing down where
Treasures.
Francesca is.
All treasures.
So like just put it on the table.
Paving the way with great advocacy, such a measure of community. This was our plan, our pioneer team, fully invested in what we grow. We saw the clock was ticking and we saw the roadblocks ahead. We had to make it happen as the havoc and panic set in. We do our things and we cherish the memories we're making, fully expecting to thrive in a world of such beauty. From the rubble to the risen, we will always forge ahead. Shaping the road with direction and place. We aimed so high there was no room for lows. Kicked down the walls, any barriers we found, from this hourglass emptying all of its sand. Let's make the most of this land we have in our neighborhood. Harvest and sow all these memories, we'll make it our lifetime. From the rubble to the risen, we will always forge ahead. And our sacred space, our home away from home, and our gorgeous world, our fuel forevermore. Now here we are, flexing all our muscles for this beautiful green space we hold up so high. Bit by bit and stem by stem, this is what we call our legacy.